This is a 6-row repeat that's worked on a multiple of 6 stitches plus 2. I have 20 stitches here for the sample, and row 1 is actually the wrong side of the pattern. For row 1, you're going to knit the first stitch and then begin your pattern repeat. And this next part, it's a little tricky, and it might take a little bit of practice to get. It's purl 5 together. So the next 5 stitches, you want to slip those onto your needle, and it'll help loosen the stitches up a little bit if you give your needle a little turn once they're in the stitches. You can also use needles with a sharp point like I have here. These are the Knitter's Pride Cubics. And also, if you use a wool yarn, it might be a little bit easier to purl these 5 stitches together because wool has a little bit of spring to it, and it's a little forgiving when you have to work a lot of stitches together like this. And also try knitting a little more loosely than you normally do can help. So it's purl 5 together. And then we're going to, since we took away 5 stitches here, we need to make 5 new stitches, and we're going to do that in the next stitch by knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1. And instead of saying knit 1, purl, knit, purl, I just count. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when I get to 5, I know that I'm done. I know that I've replaced the 5 stitches that I took away with my purl 5 together. But you can say knit, purl, whatever works for you. And that's all you're going to be doing across the row is your purl 5 together. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And then your make 5 into the next stitch. Knit, purl, knit, purl, and knit. And one more time. Purl 5 together. And one more time for this row. Knit into the next stitch. Purl, knit, purl, knit, and then you just knit the last stitch. For row 2 of the pattern, all you have to do is purl all stitches. So try to work this row a little loose if you can, because on the next row we're going to be purling 5 together again, and it will really help you out if your stitches on this row are worked a little bit loose. It can be really challenging to knit loosely if you are a tight knitter, but it's next to impossible to purl those 5 stitches together with really tight stitches. Okay, row 3. We're going to start by knitting the first stitch. And now we're going to work the 5 stitches in one. Knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1. Now we purl 5 together. And again, we're going to make 5 into 1. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And purl 5 together. Make 5 out of 1 by knitting, purling, knitting, purling, and knitting one more time. And purl 5 together. This is the last purl 5 together of this row. And then you end row 3 by knitting the last stitch. Row 4, just like row 2, going to purl all stitches. So in the next row coming up, row 5, we have some multiple yarn overs that we're going to be working with. So this is what we have so far with our stitch. We're going to be working on this part in the next couple of rows, these elongated pieces here. Let me grab some more yarn. Okay, row 5, really simple. All you're going to be doing is knitting each stitch, but you're going to be wrapping the yarn around the needle 3 times before you pull it through and take the stitch off your left needle. So here's 1, 2, 3, pull them through, and stitch comes off the left needle. Simple. Knit and wrap 3 times. And you do that for every single stitch. And last stitch. Okay, now for row 6, we're going to be dropping all of our extra yarn overs, and we're going to be purling our stitches. So this is what each of your stitches looks like. You have 3 wraps, but this is just 1 stitch. You're going to be dropping these extra 2 off of the left needle. So you just put your right needle in and purl like you normally would, and then you just drop all of those off the needle. So you have this really long stitch. Let's push my next group up here. This is what you have. Just go right in there and purl, and let all of those loops come off the needle. And that's all you have to do for row 6. I'm just going to finish this up quickly here. I think you get the idea of how to drop those extra wraps. Okay, so you would just repeat those 6 rows for the pattern, and when you are working row 2, that's what's going to group up these long stitches here so that you get these really pretty hyacinths right here. So that's it. That's all you have to do.